hailing frequencies are open. Hello and welcome to tonight's Elder Brain summer schedule game, and I'm super excited. I'm already stumbling over my words because I have been dying to play this game since I first discovered it.
And your
Million
excitement
years
is
ago.
contagious.
Yeah,
We're ready.
I was
I know
watching.
nothing about Star Trek, but I'm ready to dive right in.
Yeah, no.
Where no man has gone before.
So we're going to be playing Star Trek Adventures tonight. It's published by Modifius. It's an RPG set in the fantastic world where groups of professionals cooperate to solve problems together at work in space. It's going to be so awesome. First time I discovered this game was I was watching on Geek and Sundry. There was an actual play called Shield of Tomorrow, and they were beta testing the game live. So they were giving feedback with the publishers and stuff. It was really awesome. And it's really well put together, and it's super Star Trek-y, which is awesome. And we are all new to this game system tonight, so please excuse any stumbles and hiccups along the way. Thankfully, Roll20 does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, so that'll be good.
Math.
Yay! Rather than doing a big info dump at the top of the game, I figured we'll ease into it, and as we encounter stuff, we'll explain rules on the fly. In a really short nutshell, it is a 2d20 system where you want to roll low, and then you count the number of low rolls that you have against a predetermined threshold. And the more successes you get, the better you do, more or less. As Jack mentioned, I'm a big Star Trek nerd. And I am of the old school variety. I've been watching this since I was little, which was a million years ago. Before in the lost years between actual TV series, that's when I picked it up when it was on reruns on CKWS after school. Man, it was
wow. Free. I don't even know what CKWS is, so that's the
Channel 11 out of Kingston. That's what it is.
Kingston. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Shout out the Kingston cable programming.
Yeah. To that end, our game will be set in the 23rd century, which is the classic Kirk and Spock and now Pike era. And otherwise, I think we're just going to dive right in and see what trouble we can get into aboard the USS Lexington. So we'll start off with Captain's Log.
That's literally all we can play.
Yes, that's it. Stardate 35699.0. After 5 long years, Lexington is on the final leg of her mission. We're done seeking out new life and new civilizations and are boldly going back to Earth. We spent a lot of time in the far-flung reaches of space, planting the Federation flag on every rock we can find. So it'll be nice to return to friendly territory. Our first port of call, back within the borders of the Federation, is the newly commissioned Starbase 75, codenamed Deep Space One. Now we'll cut to sickbay, inside the CMO's office, and we see Captain Garrett sort of pacing in front of the desk. And she's saying, thing is, Doctor, we'll be back at Earth Space Dock to be decommissioned in less than 3 weeks. Do we really need a full set of crew fitness evaluations? And we pan to the person seated at the desk. And Jack, why don't you tell us about Dr. Tisona?
Okay, I am playing the Vulcan woman, Dr. Tisona, as the chief medical officer aboard the Starship Lexington. She has, the pointy ears of the Vulcan. Her hair is kind of like in a very, like sort of a. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would describe that too, but it's got the
big sideburn things going on there. Yeah, that's.
I'm going to say that Dr. Tisona has, as a Vulcan, aboard a primarily human ship, she has been trying to sort of integrate herself into human culture, and as part of that, she's developed a fascination and interest with learning about human society through historical literature, although in the centuries since modern day, in the same way that, you know, Shakespeare was considered kind of low class for its time. Things have gotten a bit muddled in the process, and so she's recently been reading a lot of like what we would know as like dime store romance novels. And one of those she's currently reading through a transcription of on a tablet when she realizes the eyes are on her as she sits down and says, "I assure you, Commander, it is merely a formality, but considering the amount of time that we've spent out in space, it would be best to ensure that we're not bringing any foreign contaminants to Earth from any of the previous places we visited."
Yeah, but we did them just 6 months ago. Do you really think that we... And Saved by the Bell, the intercom whistle goes off, and we are going to cut to the bridge. As soon as I find my tab. Here we go. Cut to the bridge, and we see the main viewer is now showing the ship slowing from warp speed to sublight speed, and you see off in the distance a little teeny tiny starbase. Mike, your character is in the center chair. He's in command of the bridge right now with his finger on the comm button. Why don't you tell us who he is?
Yeah, so I am playing Executive Officer Security Chief Adrian Walsh. Adrian is a human dude. He grew up at Starbase 11. His serious injury listed here is that he lost his right arm below the elbow. It was bitten off as part of a landing when his landing party, was attacked by a massive animal when they were doing his survey mission. He was quick on his feet and scared away the beast with some gizmos on his tricorder, but at that point the limb was gone. So he has a cybernetic arm and hand that I guess was a point of interest for the people that he made first contact with, which I don't know how much detail that needs to be fleshed out, but so he's the security chief, currently, I guess, at the helm.
He's currently sitting in the center chair, and you were given strict instructions to tell the captain as soon as you arrived at your destination, which has just happened. And you've got your finger on the comms button.
Push the comms button. Captain, we've arrived.
And you hear the voice over the intercom saying, "Adrian, my savior, I'll be right up." Down in the doctor's office, she turns to Dr. Tisona and saying, "Duty calls, doctor. We can pick this up later." And she sort of scoots out of the office, almost a gleeful scamper to be out of this dreadful little meeting. Back on the bridge, while you are waiting for the captain to arrive, the communications officer tells you, "Commander, we are being hailed by the station."
On screen.
All right. Well, I'll give you an on-screen sound for that one.
Ooh.
You said the magic words.
It's like we're right there.
So it's what comes on screen is very obviously an artificial life form. And just as the captain is stepping out of the lift onto the bridge, it introduces itself and says, "I am Auton 17. As Commodore Lee has been delayed, allow me to welcome you to Deep Space One, the Federation's first fully automated star base." So this is where it would cut to the main credits, right? We have the space, the final frontier, all that jazz that we're probably not legally allowed to say more than just that.
We're playing a licensed game.
No, that's fair. So your ship has arrived in the star system, and this would be a good time to do a routine scan. And what we can do is... neither one of you is playing the science officer, so we'll have one of you pick the science officer and the other one can be the ship. Because what we're going to do is a difficulty 0 test here. So what we're going to do here, so normally the minimum difficulty for a check is you want to look for 1 success off your 2d20s roll. I can set the difficulty lower for the specific purpose of allowing you to build momentum. This is a gimme. This is supposed to be a routine task that you can just do, but I'm letting you roll for it so you can build some momentum and
also just familiarize ourselves with
just
with the system.
practice doing a roll.
I'll take the,
Which of these characters is the? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I'll take the ship if you want to take the science officer.
All right,
I
so
was just
sales
about to ask
officer
which-
is Commander Prim.
Lieutenant
So this
Commander
cat
Prim.
up here.
Oh, here we go. I don't seem to see him on our. Oh, here we go, Lieutenant Commander Prim. And what will I be rolling?
That is a good question. You will be rolling a reason science. So click on reason,
Okay.
click on science, and then set the. Oh, I set the difficulty. You're rolling 2 dice because the ship is helping.
So under the I would select 2 under task roll. Is that correct?
So far, yes. Yes. Unless
Okay.
does Commander Prim have any focuses? Sensor operations.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
All right. So click focused use to yes.
All
So
right.
this will now increase your crit range by your science, basically. So now instead of critting on just a 1, you're going to crit on 5s and lower.
But that doesn't add any additional dice.
Doesn't add any
right?
dice to the pool. It just means
Okay.
the dice you have are more potent.
Copy that.
Do you have any talents that we could use here? I see.
Let me take a look. I'm not as familiar with this sheet as I am with the other one. Cautious parentheses science. Given the unusual nature of where we are and what we've just learned, I feel like Prim would be cautious. He seems like the cautious type.
Yep. So, so if you were to buy another die using momentum, so normally you'd be able to buy an extra d20 by spending 2 momentum.
Is that
But
what
since we don't have
talents
any momentum yet, that's
right. So what you
That's
could
cool.
do, if you want, you can also give me 2 threat to buy a die.
are?
So you guys have a collective pool of momentum that you can use to activate different abilities. I have a pool of threat to activate the enemy's abilities. If you want to give me some threat to start with, then you can have that die.
I think it might be a little early the night for that.
Okay.
It just doesn't seem logical, Captain.
Here we go. So one thing that your science officer role will give you that if you do score any bonus momentum, you will get an extra one.
Okay. So do I click on the dice symbol next to task roll when I'm ready to roll?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll just fire that out. Or is there anything else that we need to?
Nope, because once you get a success, then we will figure out if the ship is able to help you.
All right.
Ooh.
2 and a 1, and I've been told the low rolls are good rolls. So
That's the number of successes.
Yeah, so that's not the
20
dice
total.
roll.
Oh, okay.
That's 3 successes.
So your first die roll is actually a 3 on the die, which is a crit, which gives you 2 successes. And then the second one is a 10 on the die for 1 more success. All right, so Mike, you can roll the sensors.
Okay.
And this would be sensors science.
Sensors, science, task roll.
Yep.
2.
All right, 2 more. Wow. Okay, so you guys generate 5 momentum off of that.
Oh, yeah.
Just knock that one out of the park. Lexington, you guys have been out in space for a long time. So you are familiar with the systems and you know how to coax every last nugget of information out of Lexington sensors. So that's great. So I will give you guys 5 momentum on the tracker, like so. And Lieutenant Commander Prim gets a bonus if you want to. So at this point, you've succeeded on the sensors check. So you get the basic information. And then on this kind of thing, you can spend momentum to get extra information after I've told you everything. So if you want to do that, Prim has a freebie off of that. First, let me give you what.
Consult my associate here, Mike. Do you think that we should be spending our momentum this soon? I mean, it feels like we're going to be
Yes.
building it a lot. Yes. Okay.
Based on that, we just gained 5. I think we're going to end up with too much, so we should spend it when we can.
Yeah, so momentum caps out at
Use
6.
it or lose it.
So
Okay,
you
yeah.
got 5 out of
So
6, first of all.
in
And
that case,
second,
I will. Oh, sorry.
as we change from scene to scene, you lose 1 momentum if we change scenes, or when we change scenes, I should say. So it is really a use it or lose it kind of thing.
In that case,
And
I
this
will,
bonus, and the bonus one can only be spent for this obtain information, so you might as well use it now.
In that case, Lieutenant Prim will spend 1 momentum to learn more about.
Awesome. All right. So on the initial scan, pretty basic information. The starbase is orbiting the 5th planet. It is a bog standard Class J gas giant with a number of unremarkable moons. The second thing that comes out from the initial scans, the starbase looks damaged. One of the sections has had a blowout, and there is a debris field sort of next to the station on that one arm. And I will see if I can pull up the art for the station now that I'm thinking of it.
Okay, so planet seems pretty bog standard, Captain, but appears the station might have taken a bit of damage recently. We might want to tread lightly on this one.
Further information as you do a secondary scan. I better get the right. It's important stuff. You're doing the sensors
Take
thing.
out a
on
little
the bridge.
device.
Yes. So you have detected a faint ion trail from a starship entering the star system. It's at least up to 6 weeks old. It's not fresh. It's not more than 6 weeks, somewhere in between. You have also
up
determined
a 6-week-old ion trail. Not sure what that's from, but guess it's not anything recent.
the explosion happened about 3 weeks ago, based on your sensor scans. So this would be after the other ship arrived. So ship, explosion, and mixed in the debris field around the breach are the remains of a scale 3 spacecraft. So for reference's sake, Lexington, I think, is scale 5. So this is something bigger than a shuttlecraft, but smaller than a starship ship. That arrived, there was an explosion on the station, and the ship appears to have part of that explosion.
You don't suppose that was an escape pod, do you?
They get too big for an escape pod. Maybe
Yeah,
There's
so
not many people there
mission.
trying to evacuate.
Yeah. So as a scale 3, that would be, yes, a small cargo ship or something along those lines.
Perhaps a delivery gone wrong.
So as you're relaying this stuff and you are approaching the station, they hail you again. This time it is the human commander of the station coming on. I apologize. Welcome to Deep Space One. I'm Commodore Lee. And he's yes, Auton 17 kind of over. It's not a fully Auton. Why don't you come over to the station and I'll explain everything. Come over. Yes, come over to the station and we'll talk. DS1 out. And he sort of ends the call.
Insight check. No, I don't know I don't know that's how that works.
Dr. Sona will sidle up to the captain at this point and say,
if you want to roll insight security.
I do, because that seems super sus.
All right.
something's not adding up here.
And then I would I'll use another, so Jack used one momentum. I'll use another momentum, and I'll roll cautious security as well as a talent.
Oh, you've got cautious security. Perfect.
I've got cautious security, yeah.
All right. So let me so
this is Walsh you're rolling for?
This is Walsh I'm rolling for, yeah, as the security officer.
So
security
to
chief.
buy another die, so it costs you 2 momentum to buy an additional D20.
Okay, so did Jack's cost 2 as well? Are we down to 2 if I do this?
No, His obtain information was free because he's the science officer.
Okay, so we're down to 3 if I do this.
Yes.
Because we had 5. Okay. And then I've
If
also
we
got...
spend momentum on a roll, does that mean that we are not eligible to receive momentum from the roll?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Nope. If you blow it out of the park, you can earn back what you've spent.
Okay.
So I've also got the focus of Starbase operations. Could I throw a focus on this as well?
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
So I'm
'Cause,
focused
yes, this would
on...
be sort of within the purview of the base commander is acting a little sketchy. Why is he not acting within his function?
Yes. Well, why is he very suspiciously telling us to just come aboard? Just come aboard. So I'm rolling 3 dice with a focus on.
Yes.
Cool. All right, rolling. 3 successes.
3 successes.
One of which is a critical.
Let's see. Ooh, this was a difficulty 3 insight check.
Hey.
So you have succeeded, but you don't have any extra. So what you can tell based on his body language and being a fellow human, you can get a pretty good read on this guy. He's barely keeping it together. There was someone in the room that he did not want to speak candidly in front of. Is what that's the feel you're getting.
Captain, I think he might have been hijacked.
Down to 3 momentum. I trust your judgment on this, Commander. Why don't you grab Dr. Tisona and your choice, build a landing party and head over to that station and sort out what's going on. I would suggest take one of the security with you and then your choice of either probably the chief engineer to assess damage and do repairs, or the science officer if you want. Yeah, one of those two would probably be the best choice for doing sort of a damage assessment.
So who are the security people? I'm looking at...
So those are these two waiting for you in the transporter room already. So you can have either Ensign Red or Lieutenant Shirt, and they're interchangeable.
Red and shirt, you say?
Uh-huh.
Let's go with Ensign Red.
All right. He looks ready for action. I'll send
Maybe a little too ready.
Yeah. All right. So we'll send Dr. Tisona, Commander Walsh, and your choice, either the science officer or the chief engineer can tag along as well if you want.
Seeing as how they've got, I don't think it's a science issue on board. I think it's an engineering problem. So we might have to figure out how to close up all the holes in the station. So we'll take the engineering officer.
All right. So we have Lieutenant Commander Shaquilin. I should point out that all of the character images here and all my token art, these are all either fan films or cosplayers that I grabbed off the internet. So these are awesome people. None of them are professional actors for Star Trek. These are all people who just enjoy the show so much that they dress up and paint themselves blue, right?
Should we maybe after the stream we do like a little credit roll of the sources if people want to check out those fan films?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely the fan films. There's a couple that I will definitely recommend. But yeah, actually, if you did a reverse image search on some of these people, you'd probably find the cosplayers as well. Yes. Okay. You've got a landing party built. This is good. And you're going to beam over to the station. So I will grab.
Oh, I know that
Beamed.
And you have. So this is now going to be a new scene. Captain Garrett open.
As we're beaming in, I imagine that we beam in like mid conversation, and Dr. Tasson saying to the others, And that's why, from a medical standpoint, the matter transporter actually kills us and reconstitutes an entirely new body upon
Oh,
our new destination. It's
that
quite
is
fascinating.
a can of worms, let me tell you.
It's actually quite fascinating.
All right, so you are met in the transporter room of the starbase by a number of these friendly-looking fellas. They're all pretty identical looking, and one of them says, Commodore Lee has instructed me to direct you to his office. Please follow me. And he leads you through the base.
It seems
Okay.
logical.
No reason to not follow him for now.
And you are deposited in the Commodore's office. Oh, that's the wrong Commodore Lee. I got rid of that one. This should be, where'd you go? Non-player character, Commodore Lee. This guy, that's Commodore Lee. Yes, I discovered last night they actually had some actual proper actors. I had to get rid of them and replace them with more cosplayers. So here's Commodore Lee. He's a frumpy looking fella, but he's been on a desk. He looks like he's been on a desk job, right? And he's nervous. Like you can see, like flop sweat. In the room with him, he has another one of these automatons. The one who, I don't know if you'd be able to pick him apart, but is presumably the one that did the initial call with you on the ship. Auton 17 was what he was called. And then sitting with him is a Vulcan in civilian clothes. Not a Starfleet member.
Would it be appropriate for me to give her the salute in this context?
Absolutely. And yes, she stands and live long and prosper, doctor.
I just nod.
So yes, you guys have noted that there are lots of these automatons all over the station. And Commodore Lee kind of invites you in to, all right, yeah, please, you can, please, yeah. Autons, you go. 17, you stay. Except your chairs. Chairs, Autons, bring chairs. And you see some of them scurry off. And they arrive back with chairs and go off and do their Auton thing. Commodore Lee is like, oh, please, sit. And he's sort of glancing. Yeah, so you're early. We were, like, your schedule was, you were supposed to arrive 2 days from now, not today. Is there any, I mean, we're glad you're here, obviously, because we need some help. We've had that little unfortunate accident there that, yeah, kind of blew out the beta wing entirely. Well, not entirely, but.
An accident, you say? Could you elaborate on what exactly happened here?
And at that, the Vulcan sort of shushes the Commodore a little bit. Obviously, it was a most unfortunate accident. The Autons arrived on their starship about 4 weeks ago. They were attempting to contact their home world using our subspace antenna, but some sort of feedback grew between the ship and the antenna during the umbilical connection, caused a blowout in our subspace antenna and in their power plant, blowing their ship to smithereens and taking out a good chunk of the station's engineering crew in the process. So we have been unable to.
You say the Auton's homeworld?
Yes. When they first arrived here, I was dispatched almost immediately from the Vulcan Science Academy to study them and one of the first things that they revealed is that they were indeed from quite a distance away and were running low on power in their ship. So we were able to provide some repairs and facilities here for them. And the information exchange began, but they were desperate to contact their homeworld because they had been out of touch for so long.
So you were not the creator of these individuals then?
No, they are visitors to this portion of the galaxy, as far as we can determine. Unfortunately,
Well, they certainly seem to have made themselves at home.
and Commodore Lee's kind of, yes, they want to keep busy. They do sure like doing stuff around the station. Unfortunately, the section where the subspace antenna was is also where our industrial fabricators and replication center was. So we haven't been able to repair that big old hull breach because we can't replicate anything. So hopefully, Somek here can use the fabricators aboard your starship and get this hole plugged up, and you guys can be on your way.
Well, I can certainly understand their hospitality. Wanting to show appreciation for you providing them asylum is a logical response. I'm sure that my crew and I should be able to assist in this error and help them reach their destination in due time.
Excellent. Well, Somek knows the specifications, so why don't... Yes, how about... This is a brand new starbase. You guys have been out in the far reaches of space for far too long. Let me show you some of the amenities we have to maybe some shore leave for your crew. What do you say, Commander? And he sort of chucks you on the shoulder and doesn't quite hit the bionic arm, but he notices that there's something there and pauses and shrugs it off.
Commander Walsh, it's your call.
Well, I mean, shore leave might be nice for our crew. We have been on a very long journey. Commodore, I do have a question for you, though. You seemed so shocked by our early arrival, but you are in desperate need of assistance. Why do you not seem more glad that we have shown up early?
Oh, it's been a week. Let me tell you. Yeah. No, we should definitely do that tour. That's what we need to. I think everyone needs some rest and relaxation after this week. Somek, why don't you take an Auton with you and go do what you need to do? And I will show the commander and the doctor and the others here. We'll show them around the station. 17, you're with me. And Somek just sort of nods to you all and peels off with 2 Autons to head for the transporter room, and Commodore Lee begins his tour of the station. Is there anything that interests you about this station? And he's sort of looking over his shoulder.
I mean, I'm very interested in how eager they are for us to stay. That seems a bit suspicious.
And I'm mildly concerned that we just sent the Vulcan and an automaton over to our ship, apparently, without escort or warning.
Well, if you want, you can send the security guy back with them.
I think we will send Mr. Red back with the Vulcan and her name is
Somek.
Somek.
Sound like Hayek?
Yeah. All right. So these are our 2 groups.
I mean, I think Commander Walsh is maybe more interested in what the automatons have been doing, if not repairing the damaged section of the space station.
Well, so the Commodore is starting to sort of walk you through. There's a residential area, and you can see that the Autons are around. Like they're doing pretty menial work, like they're pushing brooms and changing light bulbs, sort of level of just menial work around the station. But they are kind of omnipresent. And at this point, it kind of stands out to you that Somek and Commodore Lee are the only organic life forms you've seen on the station. Even though you're walking through crew quarters, cafeteria, arboretum, these are things that look like they should have had crew and people. They talked about having an engineering staff that got blown out during the accident. But this is a huge station that should have hundreds of people on it.
If possible, I think Commander Walsh will kind of lag back with Dr. Tasona and try to whisper a suggestion to the doctor.
So yeah, Commodore Lee is sort of showing off the engineering marvels to the chief engineer, and you're able to sort of hook Dr. Tasona back for a sec.
So if I'm doing my math right, and I'm sure you've noticed as well, there's no other people here. Why don't you whip out your tricorder and see maybe you can spot any sources of blood or massacres that potentially have been cleaned up.
Massacre.
Very logical deduction, Commander. They did say that this was the first fully automated station. I wonder how it came to be that way.
Well, that sounds like it became fully automated 4 weeks ago when these things arrived.
So
all right.
What should I roll for that?
This would be a
reason.
well, what are you going to scan? I guess what are you going to scan for? First of all, are you scanning for? I'll let you choose between reason science and reason medicine. Like you are the medical doctor, so probably scanning for life science would be a good.
Yeah,
start.
I think life science. I assume that the Autons probably wouldn't show up if I was detecting for organic life.
Yeah, you would, or at least you'd be able to determine. You'd be able to differentiate between them and humanoids for sure.
Carbon based.
Yeah. All right. So reason medicine.
Reason and medicine. Let's see. What are my foci? I don't know if you would call this emergency medicine.
No, that's more like if someone.
Yeah, that's more like what triage. Yeah. I don't think that I can finagle my way to applying one of my focuses here.
How about a talent?
Unfortunately.
Oh yeah, do you have any talents that?
We'd have to burn 2 momentum to use it, but
Do you have?
I mean,
caution
insightful
points?
guidance is a little bit broad. Whenever you assist a character in a social conflict using your knowledge of psychology or emotional states, no, that won't work.
Actually, I should look at your sheet and see what else you
When you spend 1 or more momentum to obtain information, am I obtaining information here?
If you succeed, then you will. So you succeed, you'll get a basic amount of information, and if you spend momentum, then you can get more information. And that's saying that if you spend momentum, then you get additional questions to ask.
So this would be useful to apply here. Is what I'm learning.
Yes. So
I'd
if
say
you
so, yeah.
succeed, then
Okay. So yeah, I'll apply my studious talent to that. But otherwise, it's just 2 dice.
no 3
2
dice.
unless Mike can figure out a way for Commander Walsh to assist.
Oh, sorry. Are you not using a talent?
Oh, I'm using studious, but that doesn't.
Studious- Yeah, studious works.
That will modify the results of my roll if I succeed.
I see.
That doesn't actually improve my chances of success. It just gives me more on a success.
I mean, my reason for suggesting this is because of concern for the security of the people on the space station. I don't know how helping works. I don't remember that part.
So yeah, let me pull it up in the rule book because I just read it recently. Improving the odds. Teamwork and assistance. Here we go. You're the lead. assist with a task, you must describe how you're assisting. You will only roll 1 die. Oh, you're going to be rolling on the same. So you'd also be rolling on reason medicine.
Okay.
And you would only roll 1 die.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's why there's a 1 there.
my reason's not bad, and my medicine isn't 1.
Yeah.
So I'm just rolling 1 dice to help?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll roll first. I got a success.
Beautiful.
Now my roll.
Yes.
2 successes. Am I reading
All
that
right.
correctly?
So
Yes.
3 successes total.
Fantastic.
All right. So it was a difficulty 2. So you will gain a momentum.
Nice.
You said you were good. So you scan. There are humanoid life signs. There is a huge cluster of them in one portion of the station. That is what you get off of a quick tricorder, trying to be a little surreptitious tricorder scan, just to, you're leaning off to the side, but you hear, right? That's not subtle.
Commander, all of the organic life signs aboard the station seem to be clustered into a single area. Do you suppose the Autons may have taken the original crew prisoner and are holding them in this space?
That was exactly my concern, and I would say that this confirms it.
All right. At this point, if you want to spend that momentum you earned to obtain information, you can ask additional questions. And since you've got that talent, you can ask 2 questions for 1 momentum.
Oh, might as well.
I guess my first question is, how easily could I get to this holding cell without drawing the suspicion of the Autons?
So based on the layout of the station, you are so the station. I wish I had the picture of the station here. You know what? I'm going to just quickly switch us to another map for just a sec here. Hopefully you can see, just so you can get an idea of what the station looks like. Right. So, the blowout happened on one of the arms. You guys,
Okay.
the Commodore's office is in the central area. The life forms are in one of the other arms. So you guys are currently in the central hub, and it's out on one of the arms.
So are we in that, where the 3 arms meet, we're in that cylinder in the
Yes.
center? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Commodore is the one human from this station that we met, right?
Yes.
So yeah, my first question is, how easily can we get there without drawing suspicion? And 2, did the Commodore invite us on board so that we would discover this? Like, was that his homework?
You suspect that this tour is trying to stumble into the captives.
Blink twice if you need us to help you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we have an
Right.
Auton with us, right? 17?
Yes. 17
Okay.
is still with you.
Yeah.
The other thing that you will get off of that, since you didn't obtain information, the life signs are all depressed. Like they are either tranquilized or in stasis or something. They are not normal life signs. Yeah.
Low brain activity.
That kind of
slow
stuff.
heartbeats. Okay.
All right. So you have determined that. So they're often one of the other arms of the station. How do you want to? So Commodore Lee is now directing you. It's like, we've got a beautiful arboretum here. I think it'll be just the thing that you people need after years out in the frontier and all these alien worlds. How about some good old fashioned pine trees and daisies and good old earth green grass? He looks at the doctor.
Knowing that the Commodore is that this whole thing is a cry for help, would I infer that he is trying to kind of steer us towards areas where the captured crew are being held? Or would
Not
that
your
be too...
first inclination. It might just be that he's still playing his part, probably because the Autons are still around.
Yes, that sounds quite pleasant. Commander Walsh, I'm sure that you would agree that as we are guests on the Commodore's ship, it would be most logical to follow where he leads us.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen some Earth trees. Let's give it a gander.
All right, so he leads you to the Arboretum. And it is it's nice. I mean, you don't have big areas aboard your starship. The older starships don't have a lot of, like, other than the shuttle bay, that is kind of the big open area. Everything else is quite cramped and small aboard your ship. So this is like a 3-story open area in the middle of that hub with big windows and artificial lights and the whole thing. Like, it's both night and day here because they got windows to the starry sky, and then there's the flood lamps overhead to keep the plants and things growing. And it is quite lovely here, and it does take you a bit, puts you a bit at ease in spite of the situation. That, okay, yeah, this is it's a nice spot to hang out.
It's quite pleasant. I know that they've been making quite a few advances on holodeck technology in recent years, but I found that you truly cannot beat the real thing.
Yes, no, holograms. Who needs That's just foolishness. We've got proper trees here, and it's a bangs against a good solid. This has been years of growth here. And here, let me show you the duck pond. And off he sort of toddles off through the place, and he is still nervously going through the motions of this tour.
Dr. Son is going to look over at 17 and see if I can get a read off of them.
That, why don't you roll? Let's do an insight. It is a machine. We'll do insight science.
Okay. Insight science. Yeah, and I don't think I can apply a focus or talent to this, so I'll just go ahead and roll.
Yep.
One success.
One success. Well, it was just a difficulty 1 task, so not too. You're just getting sort of a surface read on 17. Unlike the others seem to be busy and working, and 17 seems to be attending to Commodore Lee. And if you didn't know better, you would say almost concerned about his level of nervousness.
The 17, was it?
Yes, Dr. Chisona.
I can't help but notice that you seem to work very closely with the Commodore. Is the role that you found on this station similar to the one that you performed on your home planet?
My role was assigned to me by Auton 1. I am Commodore Lee's personal attaché. Commodore Lee's heart rate is high. Commodore Lee has an elevated heart rate since the guest arrived. I am concerned for Commodore Lee's health and well-being. And the Commodore sort of hears this and, like, steadfastly ignores this conversation. It's like, yeah, whatever.
If it would bring you peace of mind, 17, I am a medical doctor. I could perform a routine checkup on the Commodore just to ensure that any stress that he might be experiencing doesn't negatively impact him from a medical standpoint.
That would be appreciated. Thank you, Doctor. Commodore Lee, please submit yourself to medical examination immediately.
Oh, one thing, however, 17. among human culture, there is a certain social moray pertaining to medical procedures such as this. Patient-doctor confidentiality. I will have to perform this checkup on the Commodore in private, if this is acceptable to you.
I will turn around. Commodore Lee is always guaranteed his privacy. I will not observe the examination whatsoever. And he takes
I
2
will-
steps and turns around.
17, I will also have to humbly request that you move out of listening range as well. Purely just out of respect for the human culture that we are observing.
Of course, I understand, Dr. Tisona. Commander Walsh, Lieutenant Commander Shaquilan, please come with me as we will give the doctor and the Commodore their privacy.
Walsh will touch the head towards Tisona and follow 17.
All right. So now there's only two. You managed to split the party. What the hell?
I don't know how this happened. Commodore, are we safe to discuss your medical concerns openly in this space?
And he pulls out like a little control pad of some sort, and the bubbling brook next to you suddenly just goes into overdrives, like water flow, and he's like, okay, that should obscure us enough, I think. They're all captives. Please, you gotta help them. Oh my God, please! And he's like in.
Yes,
about to.
I gathered as much on the scan that I performed upon entering. Captain, while your emotional outburst is valid and not to be shamed, I will suggest not to react too strongly, lest we are currently being watched.
And he's like, it has been, ever since the accident, it's been just, when they first arrived, it was all fine. They were happy to serve. They were friendly and outgoing. And then suddenly this thing happens and they've gone berserk and they've taken the whole place over. And everyone's been taken to, and it's just, you've got to help. They're all in sick bay. It's out in the Alpha Wing.
My bioscan indicated a diminished amount of vital activity from the captives. What exactly do the Autons do to those that they capture?
And he's about to respond when the doors on the opposite side of the Arboretum open, and you see a squad of 6 Autons come marching in. And one of them announces, Commodore Lee, you have been sustaining an elevated heart rate since our guests arrived. Auton 17 reported this to us. Auton 1 recommends you be remanded to our care for your protection. And at the word protection, you see him blanch. And they are now coming for him.
I will interpose myself between the Commodore and the Autons and say, while your concern is appreciated, I assure you that this will not be necessary. I've just spoken to the Commodore and have made several lifestyle recommendations in order to reduce his unnaturally high blood pressure for his species. I've recommended that he reduces the amount of sodium in his diet, as well as switching to protein primarily from that of earth poultry. This should see a marked result in coming weeks.
All right. This is going to be a presence command.
Ooh.
All right. Can I apply my instructor talent because I'm teaching these robots how to
You know what?
ensure lower blood pressure?
I will give you that extra 1 in crit range.
Presence command, you said?
Command, yeah.
Okay. So that's not an extra dice. That just makes them more likely to succeed,
Yeah,
right?
so like focus used. If you still
Okay.
have 2 momentum, if you want to buy another die.
Yeah, I'll spend 2 momentum here to buy another die.
Okay. Mike, is there anything that command you? So you see this happening as well. Is there anything Walsh can do to help
Um,
on a presence command check?
I mean, that's what Walsh is good at. He's got presence and command. I don't know how I would help from this distance. Um, I don't know, like, because we'd be out of earshot, right? Because we had to leave.
That was kind of the point. You see the other
Yeah.
Autons arriving, and you see that there is a standoff happening.
I think immediately Commander Walsh would just start walking back over towards Tasona because there seems to be a threat.
Mhm.
But in terms of how to help, I'm not sure. Aside from calling out and trying to affirm what Dr. Tasona is saying, but I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Sorry, Jack.
Okay. I got 3 dice and I'm using a focus, so hopefully this goes well.
Just for fun, I'm going to make this an opposed check just because we haven't done one of those yet.
As we say on Planet Vulcan, don't mess this up. Ew. 2 successes.
All right.
And a critical failure.
Ooh,
What
complication.
does that mean?
So
Complication.
that complication means a couple of things. But basically, it gives me the opportunity to either bank that complication for later as threat or do something to this current scene that will make things harder on you going forward.
Mm.
Let me just see how well they do before I. All right, so I've rolled. So you have beaten me. So it was a. So the way an opposed check work is we're both rolling against a target of 1. And then it's the net successes beyond 1. Since I failed and you got 2, that means you've hit the 1 plus 1. So you bank 1 momentum.
Nice.
Which is good. And then the complication on this scene. What should I complicate this?
Commodore has a heart attack.
Actually, what he does. So Commodore Lee steps sort of around you. You were interposing yourself, and he sort of dodges around you and says, "No, it's okay. I give myself up. Please don't hurt them."
Commodore, are you sure this is a logical decision?
So the Autons are now. So you talked them down, but he's willing to give himself over anyway because it's gotten a little funny here.
I think seeing this, maybe Walsh will call out, "Excuse me, what exactly do you plan on doing with him? Dr. Tasona can properly take care of him."
And you see them sort of stop and confer. Commodore Lee is going to be taken for protection.
And where might you be taking him?
All of the remaining humans are protected in the sick bay.
Ooh, interesting. They're just giving that up.
As Commodore Lee's current acting medical practitioner, would I be able to accompany you to the sick bay in that case for observational purposes?
That would be appropriate as his medical practitioner. Please accompany us.
I'm just going to turn around and look at Walsh. I'm just going to mouth the word logic.
What exactly do
And
you
then-
think that you are protecting these people from?
Auton 1, knows that space is dangerous.
Yep, we're up on that too. You know, we could prevent the danger of space if you would allow us to repair the station.
This station is fragile. You are so now. So there's the group of there was 6 of them that came in. There's 17. There's 3 of you plus Commodore Lee, and you're all sort of now leaving the Arboretum, heading towards Alpha Wing.
I need to find a way to break off and warn the ship.
Commander,
Yes.
I think that the Commodore and I will be fine in the care of our Auton hosts. Would it be, not to overstep my station, but we are also entertaining guests on our own vessel as well. Perhaps it would be more appropriate for you to make sure their needs are currently being met.
We split the party by 20 feet and all hell broke loose. Do I want to split the party by thousands of feet?
I mean, I don't want to go behind enemy lines, but Tisona's logic is that she also knows that you need to go warn our crew about what's happening. And also, Tisona wants to find out what is going on in this med bay and what they're doing to the crew of this station, in order to gather information on how to potentially undo it. So she's putting herself behind enemy lines, but she thinks that as long as she keeps interfacing with these machines on purely like logical, factual statements, then she might be able to bluff her way through this scenario without being put in danger.
All right, but I'm not leaving you here alone. Lieutenant Commander Shoquilin? How do you pronounce that?
Yep.
Shoquilin, would you please accompany Dr. Tisona? Maybe you can perhaps find an engineering solution to the problem that we are currently facing in this space station.
She said, nods, yes, Commander. I wouldn't mind getting a look at that blowout at some point, too.
I'll head back to the Lexington and I'll bring back more help so we can take care of all these people.
All right, so let's do. All right, so you guys peel off, you separate. Auton 17 actually wants to hang with Commander Walsh for some reason. He is not accompanying Commodore Lee.
That makes sense. I have the sense that 17 is really the one in charge here. Or he's the strong arm or something. I don't know.
So when you do separate from the group, and we'll deal with this one first. So 17 and you are walking. Take it you just want to head back to transporter room and just beam back to the ship, or?
Yeah, is that how we arrived?
Yes.
With transport? Then yeah. That's how we'll go back.
Okay. So 17, as you separate from the group, he is, I am concerned for Commodore Lee. He has been most upset since his family was protected.
Well, you need to understand that for humans, protection does not usually mean quarantine or segregation. What you've done is separate his family.
The humans are most safe inside the stasis pods.
Oh, stasis pods. Well, that is your determination, but that is not how...
It is not my determination. It is the determination of Auton 1.
And does Auton 1 decide everything for your species?
Auton 1 is the top of our hierarchy.
Where is Auton 1? Back on your home planet?
Auton 1 is with Somek.
Did I already know that?
No.
Okay. Auton
So
1 is with
Somek grabbed
Somek.
two
Oh,
Autons
jeez.
on their way out the door and apparently took the top of the hierarchy with them to the Lexington.
That's not good. That's very not good.
Rather, who took who to the Lexington? Yeah.
Yeah.
Auton 1 and Somek are both aboard the Lexington now.
Well, then, all the more reason for us to get back to my ship.
I agree, Commander. You arrive at the transporter room. Protocol would be to raise the ship. So you pull out your communicator.
Yeah.
And you get nothing. No response.
Uh-huh. Oh, jeez.
So you're in a transporter room. You could the ship. Well, actually, you don't know the state of the ship right now. All you know is that there's communications problem. Auton 17 is like, is there a communications problem? That seems to be a recurring theme in this space station.
Probably just a shift change, you know. People got to take breaks. People got to grab the food. Not a problem, though.
As Somek is an expert in subspace communications, and yet all of these communications issues have been occurring. Most curious.
That is most curious. Was Somak at the station when you arrived?
No, Somek was summoned to study us as part of an initiative from the Vulcan Science Academy.
Interesting.
Wait.
Somak just seemed to be dressed a little more casual than your typical Vulcan.
Mm.
All right. Well, if you'd like, 17, I could run this this transporter, get you over to the ship, and then set it up to send myself. Would that be acceptable for you?
Let us visit your starship. All right. Where aboard the Lexington do you want to beam?
Is it cruel that I want to beam 17 out into space? And then not go back to the Lexington myself?
A little.
I kind of got the vibe that 17 might be sympathetic more so than the others.
And that's
the proverbial ghost in the machine.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking maybe Commander Walsh wants to separate himself from the machine so that he can do some spying, but he's not really a spy, so that maybe doesn't make any sense. I guess we'll just go to the transporter room where we would normally beam in, because that's where people are supposed to be that are not there currently. So we'll beam there.
Okay. That is going to be, oh boy, I think that is a control engineering. Control?
I have good control. I have bad engineering, but
Hang on, is that control or reason engineering? Let me just. Because you're not a transporter guy, it's not going to be the easy. It's not second nature to you, right? So
Yeah.
you're like, if you were a transporter operator, you just get to do this. But this is going to be at least a difficulty one. Control engineering. We'll call
control
it that.
engineering. Okay.
Yeah.
So control engineering.
Since you're doing basically a site to site or a pad to pad, it's a relatively easy transport. It's just not something you do often yourself. So
Could I throw on a focus of starbase operations, or would that be more the daily goings on?
That's more of like a logistics kind of thing than
all right.
than the mechanics of the starbase itself.
Okay, so 2 dice, no focus. 1 success.
There you go. You got the one success you needed. You're not beamed to a random part of the station. No complications.
He
Yay.
beamed himself onto the gas giant planet below.
Whoopsie. All right, so you've beamed back to the ship. Now we'll cut back over to Dr. Tassona. And Lieutenant Commander Shaquillin and Commodore Lee, along with their platoon of Autons on their way to the sick bay. Is there anything you want to do on your way to sick bay, or do you just want to arrive there?
That's Tsona, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Jackie.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was reading my character sheet because I thought that there was a moment where I was could familiarize myself a bit more. What was your question again?
Did you want to do anything on your way to sick bay, or you just want to wait till you get there to?
I don't think there's anything else Sona can do right now,
Okay.
except I mean I know that I have the science officer with me whose name I keep blanking on.
Oh, you got the engineer, Commander
yes.
Shaquillin.
Shaquillin, and I do worry about her safety in this situation. So I just advise her to wait outside of the med bay while I go to observe. So she's like nearby, but won't see anything potentially incriminating that would lead to her being compromised as well.
Okay. She says, "You got it, Doc. I'm gonna go see if I can scare up an armory around here somewhere, because I'm feeling a little naked without a hand phaser."
Don't go too far if you can avoid it. We are in unfamiliar territory after all.
I'll be fine. And she sort of slinks off down the corridor.
Famous last words.
All right, so Dr. Tsona and the Autons and Commodore Lee. Sickbay doors open, and you see the whole place has been commandeered. None of the normal sickbay biobeds have all been disassembled, and it looks like they have cobbled together. To your trained eye, you know that these are makeshift stasis pods. So they have suspended animation going on, and there are just like racks and stacks of them, possibly to contain. Like, this sickbay is not big enough to contain the entire crew. But the life signs that you got were definitely all congregated here. So they have possibly, if there's cargo storage nearby or something like that, there seems to be. This is the epicenter of the stasis operation.
How many of the original crew are under your protection currently?
A moment, calculating. Commodore Lee is the last remaining crew member who is not being protected.
So all of the original crew is currently held in stasis. Am I understanding this correctly? Or are there some that are neither in stasis or protected?
There are 7 crew members in the morgue.
Was this the result of the accident which led to the destruction of the array, or was this something else?
Yes, these were the casualties from the accident that instigated the protection protocols in Auton 1.
I will just silently give Commodore Lee a look to confirm whether or not this is correct.
You very nervously shaky nod. Yes. Definitely 7. Yeah, the number 7 dead sounds right.
I think I'm beginning to understand how you Autons operate.
And we understand humanoid operation quite well. Commodore Lee, please make yourself comfortable here. And there's a preparation area by the looks of it.
However, I can't help but find myself questioning the logic of this mode of protection. How long do you intend to keep this crew in stasis for? is returning to your original planet, the one that you intended to contact, still a priority for the Autons aboard this station, or do you
Auton
intend
1
to...
has given us a new directive. New directive is protection of the crew of Deep Space One. Commodore Lee, please make yourself comfortable. And one of the Autons steps up to Commodore Lee and injects him in the neck, and he sort of crumples. And they place him on the bed.
And under this new directive, how long are the
And they place him.
crewmates to be protected?
They'll be protected until protection is no longer necessary.
And what parameters will deem that no longer necessary?
Auton 1 sets the parameters for our entire hierarchy. Please consult Auton 1 for any further questions. Would you care for protection as well, Dr. Tisona?
As
The one
I
with the injector sort of steps towards you.
As I am not a member of this crew, only a passing visitor, I will defer to the crew of my own ship for safety and protection purposes. Thank you.
Very good. At this point, there is...
Now, I think I've seen everything that I've needed to here. I thank you for your hospitality. I must now return to my commander and engineer so that we can confer on how to best service the damage to your station.
Of course. Thank you for your assistance, Doctor. Commodore Lee is
Thank you
in
as
good
well.
hands. And you duck out of the sick bay.
Yeah. So Tasona is going to walk out of the sick bay, very primly walking down the hallway. Quick glance over her shoulder. Are any of the Autons following me out?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to immediately break into a sprint.
Awesome. At that point, you hear over the loudspeaker, "Attention, Autons, our guests are in danger. Please find them before they injure themselves for their own protection."
Okay, so first order of business is I definitely need to reconvene with Shaquille.
As you are sprinting up the hallway, you hear a sharp whistle up a side corridor. Shaquille tosses you a hand phaser and is like, "Found the armory. Let's go, Duck."
Yeah, no verbal response, just following after Shaquille.
All right. Hey, it's 9:30. This is a good break in the action where we're starting the action. This is a good spot for
Yeah,
a
this
break.
seems like a
End of Act
narratively
2?
good spot to take a quick breather, a quick commercial break.
We'll come back in a few minutes and we'll see the exciting conclusion, hopefully.
All right.
Okay.
And we're back. And the action is starting. One thing I was explaining to the guys during the break is that there are a couple of mechanics we have sort of only touched on or haven't used yet. We've talked about momentum. We've used some of the uses for momentum. And there's a lot of other things they can use their momentum pool for, such as creating an advantage or an opportunity, or creating problems for the enemies. We've been using it for obtaining information and buying extra dice on tests. Those are also things. I can do those same things with threat, as well as some other goodies that I may not reveal at this point. And the other thing is that each of the characters has a set of values, and these are sort of one-line sort of mission statements or declarations of what the character believes or how they act. So, for example, Commander Walsh has a value called "Not every problem can be solved by punching." So, if he finds a way that he can invoke this value, this is sort of a once per adventure spend. That if he can use one of his values, then he can again. There's a list of things that he can do. One of them is basically he gets an extra die that's an auto crit. So just add 2 successes to whatever he's trying to do. He can re-roll dice. There's all sorts of goodies he can do. But values are another resource that you can expend, that you can call on when you really need them. That being said, let's cut back over to the Lexington. Commander Walsh and Auton 17 have beamed aboard. You're in the transporter room. And first thing you notice is transporter room is unattended. Bad sign, because this is like day shift. There should be at least someone in here, especially since there was a landing party away from there should be someone here manning the station. No one here, bad sign. No Autons around or anything like that, but there's no one at the station either. What do you feel like doing at this point? Where are you going to head?
I think from here we might go and check maybe just the quarters. See where the people should be buzzing around and see if there are any people buzzing around.
Okay. So you poke your head out into the hall. Again, this should be a busy corridor and no one around. As security chief, I guess you could use your security clearance to just override the locks on anyone's door if you want to like bust into someone's quarters and take a look. But by the looks of things, people are not out and about, if nothing else.
I think once we're in the hallway, oh, sorry, 17. I left something in the transporter room. Let me just go and grab that. And you will walk back into the transporter room, assumedly not being followed by 17.
He dutifully waits for you in the hallway. He's a little naive. You're able to pull these fast ones on him.
And I will tap the badge and try to get in contact with Dr. Tasona back aboard the spaceship. If that's possible at this range.
Well, in this era, you're pulling out your cell phone and you're flicking open.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. They use communicators then. Yeah. So I will pull out my communicator then and try to reach Dr. Tasona.
And you get nothing.
Oh,
still
probably not picking it up right now. Yeah.
Yeah. There's still nothing. You've seen this before. There's a jamming signal going on somehow. Someone is jamming communications.
Okay. Then Mike not understanding the technology, is there some way, like a tablet or some kind of device that I could transport back to the transporter aboard the space station to leave a note for Dr. Tasona should she find that?
Yes. Actually, this would be a perfect time for one of those momentum spends I was talking about. If you want to create an advantage or add a trait to the scene, basically.
Okay.
So I will say that although voice communications seem to be jammed, there is still a data connection to the station.
Okay.
So you could send a text message to the doctor's. You saw that she had a tricorder.
Mm.
She had a medical tricorder with her. So you could try to text her tricorder, basically.
I will do that then. And I will just text the Lexington is compromised. Everybody's missing.
I guess I'll respond with, so are we.
Yeah.
Can you make it back to the ship, or should I come to you?
I will message him. Find Auton 1. He is the mastermind.
Okay. Auton 1 is on the ship. Can you come to me?
We can try.
With this, you have been able to. You can lock onto her tricorder now, so you have a good idea where she is now that you've texted her, basically.
Oh, and I'm in the transporter room. Could
You're
I
in a transporter.
Could I
You can try
transport
and beam
her
her
and
over.
Shaquille?
Yep.
Okay, I will text back then. Sit tight. Gonna try to
Stand by for transport.
stand by for transport. Yeah. And I will attempt to transport the two of
Do the
them.
thing.
Yep.
All right.
So is this another control engineering?
Sure is.
Okay. And there's probably nothing that I could do. I couldn't pull small unit tactics for this one.
No.
That wouldn't make any sense. No, that wouldn't make any sense. All right.
Is there a way that Tasona could help from her end?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know that he's locking onto your tricorder, so you could try to hook your tricorder into the transporter's targeting scanners and just basically help him lock from your end. So you can also roll control engineering. So roll 1 die, control engineering, to see if you can help.
So sorry, one. So 1 die, but control engineering would be 2 dice, right? Or is it? Oh, or I just set to 1 under the.
No, that's just
roll.
that's just the 2 attributes that go along with that 1 dice.
I'll give it a shot.
And you do have the engineer with her. I will have her roll that as well.
Mm.
Her control engineering is a little better. Let's see how she does. All right.
Okay, so now I roll my 2.
Yes.
Hey!
You didn't need the help. But on the upside, it was a difficulty 1, and you now have 3 successes. So that means you gain 2 momentum.
Ooh.
That may come in useful soon.
Yep.
Indeed. All right. So now everyone's in the transporter room, and it's getting busy in here.
As we're beamed in, Tasona will say, well, this has been an interesting day so far. I think I can say that I haven't experienced this much excitement since Pon Far.
Buzzing.
I had to do one.
All right.
Is 17 in the room with us, or is 17 still waiting in the hall?
He's still waiting in the hall for you, as directed.
All right. As they beam in, I guess I'll note that they both have level 1 phasers.
Oh, they got type 2 phasers.
Type
There's
2,
no
type 2 phasers.
Yeah.
Type 2.
Yeah, the engineer did not mess around here. She pulls one off her belt and hands it to you. I figured you might need one of these.
Very good, very good. Ship Keelan. Terrible with the names. I'm trying to remember which one are the Type 2. They're
The Type 2 one.
Type 2. Okay,
The
those
pistol
ones.
ones.
Yeah. Okay.
So 17 is in the
17's in a
I mean,
hallway.
Currently waiting in
Okay.
the hall.
So
Commander, we need to find Auton 1. He's the one issuing orders to the others. If we can potentially change his mind about his protocols for protection, that might allow us to free the captives and allow the Autons to go on their way with minimal bloodshed.
yes, I would agree. I don't know how well we would fare in a fight against these machines, seeing as how within a matter of minutes they have taken over our entire ship, seemingly. I do know that Auton 1 was with our Vulcan friend who was coming aboard this ship, so matter of finding them. Can you use your tricorder to locate her?
I can. Failing that, perhaps 17 would be able to lead us directly to 1.
They may have a hive mind going on, so he probably could, yes.
But I'll attempt to do a bioscan just to see if I can detect another Vulcan nearby. I think I was the only one on the crew of the Lexington, if memory serves.
There was one other. Lieutenant Shirt is also Vulcan. But,
Oh, okay, so about 50-50. Something tells me that maybe Shirt's not going to be giving me too many life signs right now, though.
Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. So you want to do a bioscan. So that was a reason medicine, right?
I believe so. Or was it insight medicine?
Insight medicine was something else that we did.
Okay, so
you had
so
an
reason
insight
medicine,
science.
and it's 2 dice.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not really using a focus here. Should I? Is this worth spending momentum on, Commander?
No. I think we have other means if this should fail.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and make the roll then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
There you go.
Is that good? I can't tell.
Yep.
Yeah.
3
well,
successes.
3 successes. Again, this is a pretty standard, just scanning for biosigns.
Okay.
So that's 2 more momentum for you guys. That's what that is.
Hey.
Well, we didn't spend any. It's going to become very relevant very soon.
Okay, so you can immediately. So yes, you locate Vulcan life signs in 2 locations on the ship. One is in main engineering, and the other one is in sickbay.
Do we check sickbay first, based on what I already know about the Auton's MO?
And if you want to spend a momentum for more information, that's basically a 1 for 2. Because you, oh no, you're not the science officer.
No.
But you could, if you want to obtain additional information, you can spend a momentum right now and get.
Do have 5.
Well,
We could do that. Narrow down the search, maybe, between the 2
Sure.
locations.
Out of these 2 locations, which one is Salmek most likely to be in?
Based on what you were told, they were going to go to your fabrication and replication, which would be in main engineering. So Salmek is
Okay.
probably the one in main engineering.
Roger that.
Furthermore, the one in sick bay, now that you're having sort of a closer look at it, although it is a Vulcan who has different life signs, they are also somewhat depressed life signs as well. So it could be someone who has been subdued, tranquilized, knocked out, something. They're not quite in stasis yet, but they are definitely not
Lieutenant
active.
Shirt, probably.
Probably.
Well, at least she's alive. I'll put a sigh of relief at that. To main engineering then?
So
That sounds like the right place, yeah.
So the inference from that is that they haven't had time to set up a full stasis farm like they did on the starbase, but they've at least started incapacitating the crew in some way.
See, when you call it stasis farm, that just sounds really bad. Stasis zone could be more diplomatic, but stasis farm, oh boy.
Stasis farm is gonna do you harm.
They're like a good neighbor. Stasis farm is there.
So anyway, several months later.
Make our way to engineering.
All right, main engineering. Are you going in guns blazing? Are you stealthing in? What's the plan of attack here for heading down? Who's coming with you? But Shaquillin is not coming. If you're going to engineering, it's like if they're messing up my engineering deck, they're gonna have hell to pay.
So I'm thinking cautious, but blasters out.
I would say so as well. Yeah, I think Commander Walsh is leading the charge, and all of us are going because at this point, if we separate, there's more chance that they just pick us off slowly.
Okay. Very good. So there are multiple entries into the main engineering deck. There is the sort of main entrance on the ground floor, and then there's two mezzanines on either side. So if you're stealthing in, you're probably going to come in on one of the mezzanines.
Do the mezzanines have windows into engineering?
Yeah.
I think that's maybe our best chance to get a little scout.
Okay. So let's do a little. Let's call this daring security.
Mm-hmm. Daring security with a focus on small unit tactics.
This is a focus on small unit tactics. Absolutely.
Let's see. Would my security chief role be a reason to add a dice?
What does security chief do for you? When aboard the ship, you also have the advantage of security detachment, which represents the ship's security personnel. Not really.
Not really, no.
Like basically finding the armory on the station was if you hadn't done that, then you would basically be able to go into this armed because you're the security chief. So,
right. We got level, type 2 phasers. We're good.
Yeah.
I could maybe say we're cautious security.
Doing cautious? Oh, you got a talent called cautious. Cautious security is. Blah blah blah. So if you buy another die with momentum, then you can re-roll one of your dice.
I think that makes sense to do that. So let's buy. Do I spend 2 momentum or 1 momentum?
So it's 2 momentum to buy
Okay.
1 extra die.
And I can assist in this role potentially, right?
Yes, actually.
Cool.
And
Maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we should do that.
All right, so gonna get assists from the other 2 officers. You're gonna buy an extra die.
What am I rolling?
So this is daring security.
Daring security.
Apparently,
All right.
Commander Shaquillin was a
0 is good, right?
0. That means 0 successes.
Oh, so no.
That was a
I don't know why I
19.
thought it was.
All right. Diplomacy, no. Troubleshooting, no. Okay.
Wishful thinking.
Oof.
Okay. All right.
I had a 16 and rolled a 17. That's harsh.
Well, we didn't make Mike's roll worse.
Nope.
Yes, no, didn't add any complications. But 3 dice against one of your something in your wheelhouse. So hopefully this will go well.
5 successes.
I think that evens it out.
Okay. Oh, I should be telling you this ahead of time. That was a difficulty 2 check just because there
Oh.
are people on guard here.
Okay.
So that is only 3 momentum in the bank. But you have nailed. So you guys are now in position in the mezzanine, and you can get a good assessment of what's going on below you.
Okay.
So there is Somek is definitely here. Ensign Red is not. That was the security guard you had sent back with them. And there are Autons.
Oh my.
And you can see that basically there are a bunch of the regular looking Autons, and they are working at the fabrication station, but they're not making hull plating or conduit or anything. They're making more Autons.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I thought they were going to be making stasis pods. That's much worse.
Yes, no, they basically the 3 of them that are there are pulling a 4th one out of the replicator. And it's like, okay, good. And they pat him on the back and, slap on the ass. Off you go, champ.
So did Somak come across with 2 or 3?
They came across with 2.
2. So they've
One
already.
of them was Auton 1.
So they've already replicated. This is now their second one that they've replicated, assumedly. At least, yeah.
So I get the impression that maybe Salmic is Auton 1.
Oh, that's an interesting point. That would explain some things. Although your tricorder pinpointed a proper Vulcan, right?
Still reads as Vulcan for sure.
Or still reads as Vulcan. Oh boy.
I mean, she might be Vulcan, but the Autons might be reading her as something else.
17 is still with us?
Yep.
17. Do you see Auton 1 down there? I say quieter than I actually said it.
I do not see Auton 1. Auton 1 is not present in the engineering deck.
17 is Solmak an Auton or actual Vulcan?
Somek is a humanoid Vulcan. Somek is not an Auton.
Now, just remind me of Star Trek lore. The Vulcan nerve pinch doesn't work on other Vulcans. Is that correct?
No, it should work. It was developed on Vulcan for,
Okay, I'll
Probably
keep that in
wouldn't-
my back pocket then.
Probably wouldn't work on the Autons, though.
Yes.
No nerves to pinch, I would assume. But I mean, if we need it, we've got it.
Having 17 with us complicates things because if we suddenly attack the Auton, 17 is probably going to attack us.
Here's a question. 17, what are your thoughts on the protocols that you've received and that the other Autons are carrying out?
17 sort of pauses for a moment. The protocols we have received are contradictory.
Elaborate.
It is sometimes difficult to continue the protection and well-being of the humanoids under our care, while also restricting their movement and freedoms. It is difficult.
So you would disagree with the instructions given to you by Auton 1 then? Have you spoken to them about this?
I cannot disagree with Auton 1. Auton 1 is the top of the hierarchy.
Can't or shouldn't?
My protocols prohibit me from disagreeing with Auton 1. However, Auton 1 is giving contradictory information, which makes it very difficult to understand what we are supposed to be doing. Auton 1 tells us that the safety of our wards is paramount. Auton 1 tells us that the galaxy is inherently unsafe. These are contradictory statements that cannot be resolved.
So if we were to act in such a way as to remove Auton 1 from power, how would you respond to that course of action?
There is protocol for resolving a dispute in the hierarchy and installing a new top of the hierarchy when an Auton is disabled or removed from the hierarchy.
So would you allow us to remove Auton 1 from the hierarchy? Or would you defend Auton 1?
I will defend the safety of my wards, which includes Commodore Lee and other humanoids. Autons are expendable in the defense of humanoids.
Exactly what I wanted to hear. And
Sana's not fully convinced that we'll need to use lethal force against one. She's wondering if maybe just the presence of that logical contradiction will be enough to disable the protocol if presented to one. But I mean, we'll keep the violence in our back pocket.
Dr. Tasona, if you want to try diplomacy, that's fine. But I think we should be prepared for a fight if it comes to that.
Very well, Commander. I can make peace with that.
Shaquillin, you go over there. I'm going to come over here. 17 and Tasona, you're in the middle. If this doesn't work, Shaquillin, I'll give you the signal, and we open fire on the Autons down there.
She's like, just mind your aim. You know, they are, 10 feet from the antimatter pods. So just be careful.
Fair enough.
Really.
Hey, 17, does your species have a weak point that we might aim for an advantage?
If you want to spend a couple momentum, you sure do.
I think that would be wise to spend a couple momentum, yes. So am I rolling for that?
No, basically you spend 2 momentum and you create an advantage.
Well, I would love to spend 2 momentum to create an advantage.
So let me just see. So create an advantage. Momentum allows a character to produce a positive or advantageous circumstance. Spend 2 momentum, establish some new advantage in addition to whatever, blah, 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 blah. Advantages must relate to the nature of the task attempted. So you want Auton 17 to tell you the weak points of the rest of the Autons. So you know to aim for, there's Auton 17 informs you that there is a recurring flaw with the hip flexor joints of the Auton design. Aim for the legs.
Good to know. Doctor, after you.
Commander.
So Shaquillin
and
Commander will go to opposite sides of the mezzanine.
Okay. So you guys are going to try and take out Selmac first, and then you're headed to find Auton 1. Is that the general plan here?
Well, I think Dr. Tasona wants to try diplomacy, right?
Well, I am very confused as to how Selmac fits into all this, so I will attempt to gain information.
Confront Somek. That is probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So as you guys are watching up here on the mezzanine, there is conveniently call from the bridge. Somek goes over to one of the view screens, and you see an Auton face on it, and it is here. Let me find. So you see this face,
Ah,
Oh,
the upgraded model.
of
This
course.
is Auton.
never was a
tracks.
fan of the crash test dummies. Look at him, he's shredded. He's gonna kick their asses. Look at those abs.
Yep. We're in trouble.
And Auton 1 is like, Somek, please report on production. And Somek's like, Auton 1, please be patient. Understand the facilities here are not fully converted to production yet. We have sent 6 more units to the bridge. Decks, Deck 15, engineering, and decks 1 through 5 are under our control. The rest of the decks have been flooded with anesthetine gas, so the crew should be subdued for now. So good job not beaming in or headed to sickbay. You might have run into some problems. Auton 1 sort of responds. You will not hurt the humans aboard this ship. We must protect all of the Federation at this point. Space is inherently dangerous. And Somek is like, yes, we will definitely get to that. Do you understand that your protocols have been... Your emotional response is worrying to me, Auton 1. I'm concerned, and I may need to re-examine your programming again, Auton 1. And Auton 1 is like, responds, I must hurt them to protect them. They are safest when they are dead. No. Remember, protect, keep alive, serve. So, and there's sort of a back and forth going on between these two. And the gist of it sounds like Somek has been tempering. Auton 1 has gone off the rails, and Somek has been trying to keep it in check as best they can, but also playing ball. So, with that in mind, you're going to confront Somek at this point.
I guess so.
All right. So you sort of make your presence known in the mezzanine, or are you going to just jump down to the floor, or?
I think so. Like weapons out but not pointed. Don't want to come across as too threatening for the hostile Autons in the room.
All right. So let's see. There was 3 of them working. They'd sent 1 off. And Somek just sort of starts when you appear. Doctor, you have returned to the starship. I had assumed you were safe aboard the starbase. This complicates things.
That was what I was going to say. You know, for a moment, I thought that you might have been somehow the mastermind behind this operation, but as it turns out, I actually owe you thanks for preventing the situation from escalating any further than it already has.
I am merely remediating a situation that I had some hand in creating in the first place.
Ooh.
Creating? Are you responsible for Auton 1's current protocols?
Indirectly, yes. I was unaware of his safety protocols being so stringent. When the accident occurred, it was an unforeseen complication to a situation that I had intended to go a vastly different direction. I must now confess that I am the saboteur of the station's subspace radio.
To what end?
I needed more time with the Autons to study them and did not wish for them to leave.
I am going to generously assume that the 7 casualties that were a result of your tampering were not an intended part of your plan.
Definitely not, and that is where the situation got out of my control. I merely meant for the Auton ship to become disabled through the feedback loop. The station's chief engineer, on the other hand, did not follow proper protocols when engaging with an alien ship and sent a test pulse at full power, which caused the feedback loop I had set up to overload both the subspace antenna and the ship's power plant. If he had followed proper Starfleet protocols in doing his test setup, none of this would have happened.
Well, Sonic, it is unfortunate for me to say this, but should we all survive this ordeal, you will need to face the consequences of your actions in front of the Federation court. However, for now, I think that cooperation is best for our own mutual survival. Auton 1 seems to be aware of the inherent logical flaw in his protocol and appears to be deliberately ignoring it. At his current stage, do you think that he can still be reasoned with, or will we be resorted to disable him through more conventional means?
I am unable to reason with Auton 1 anymore. You may have different tactics than me. I'm unclear on your strengths. If you can find a way to if you can make him realize the flaw in his programming in a way that I have not been able to, then there may still be a nonviolent solution. But she sort of looks at the phaser in your hand. Or you appear to have other means at your disposal if you need them. That may cause repercussions with the other Autons, however.
I think I may be able to de-escalate this situation in a way that will minimize further casualty.
Then I leave you to it. And I will await your judgment at the resolution of this conflict. In the meantime, I will attempt to, as the humans say, sandbag as much as I can.
Yes, continue to stall for time. Prevent them from progressing too quickly with their current plan. What is the safest route to Auton 1 from our current position?
Auton 1 is on the bridge. I believe he has the command crew with him there subdued, possibly as hostages. It is unclear to me. I have been here in engineering producing new Autons as slowly as he will let me.
Well, in that case, I think that we should be off. Commander, engineer.
At that point, Commander Walsh will stand up, revealing his position.
Yeah, Shaquille says, "All right, lady, just back away from my warp drive."
Okay, well,
You got the plasma conduits all met, and she's like shimmies down the ladder, down the mezzanine. He's like, all right, get out of my way. And say, I will get this thing sorted out.
Well, not to sound too much like the enemy, but at least here she'll be out of harm's way.
True. The safest route might be to transport to the bridge.
That's true. You do have a clear path to the transporter room and then could beam onto the bridge because there is only the one turbolift entrance. So it is kind of a bottleneck by design.
And we heard that there are some hallways and areas that are filled with gas that is subduing the crew. So
path of least resistance is probably the best.
The fastest way might be the best way to get there. 17, you're coming with us.
Okay. If this is going to be a tricky transport.
That's the only reason I want Shaquille to come with us.
Yep.
She's the engineer.
She's got to definitely what was I having you do? Reason engineering for that? That sounds right.
Control engineering. Control engineering, yeah.
All right. Let's see. This is not troubleshooting or jury. Oh, what's jury rigging have to say? Creative ways to use technology to overcome a problem. No, you're just beaming onto the bridge. Like during this time period, beaming within the ship is not something that happens very often, but you are not moving, so it shouldn't be a hard transport anyway. It's just pretty shorter range than normal. Oh, she's got bold engineering. She could add to the threat pool to buy extra dice.
I mean, we need to get there, so I would say,
yeah,
I would be spending dice to get a good result.
All right, so she will add 2 threat to my pool.
Okay.
To buy an extra d20.
Okay.
And can re-roll a single die.
I'm not sure there's anything I can do to help here, but I suppose I can ask.
Well, she's going to run the transporter. Control engineering. I mean, it sounds like she will, because she is not coming with you. That'll make it an easier transport.
If it's a done deal, then I won't meddle.
I will immediately spend those 2 threat that have just been given to increase the complication range. I think I'm trying to remember if is it a 2 for 1?
I feel like that would make sense because that's what the momentum's been. It's a 2 for 1 dice.
That's just how threat is generated. How do I use threat? Let's see. Yes, 2 for 1.
Oh, and you should have started this session with 4 points.
Oh, well.
It says you begin each session with 2 points of threat for every player in the group. Man, you'd have a lot of threat if we had a full party.
Yeah. This means I should have been spending it more.
Yeah, apparently.
All right. So complication range.
You not doing that.
She's rolling 3 dice. Bigger complication range. But it is still just a standard transport, so it's still going to be just a 1 success we're looking for. So here we go. Blam. Ah, look at that.
Nice.
Love to see it.
Good job, Shaquille.
As you're beaming out.
See Shaquille in it.
Yeah. And So I guess that generates 2 more momentum.
Nice.
And you guys want to just put that in the bank for now, or do you want to spend it? Oops.
Might as well put it in the bank because we've got a diplomacy / fight coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
A
Although
diplomatic fight.
Are we changing scenes or is this?
Yes. We'll call this a scene change because this is kind of the final confrontation.
So we're already going to lose one there. I would say, yeah, we shouldn't spend any until we actually get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the best. Gotta start knowing to hold them and knowing to fold them.
Yep.
So I'm going to pile some bodies over here in the corner.
Bodies.
I mean, looks like,
I suppose you didn't say corpses, so.
yes.
Breathing, intact bodies.
Yeah.
Launch and Auton 17 and Dr. Tisona beam onto the bridge. These guys are all lying on the floor. Sort of down here. I'll put you guys over here. Captain Garrett is still in the chair, but she looks drugged. She is conscious but not lucid, I guess would be the way to put that. The other 4 are unconscious on the floor. And Auton 1 sort of menacing over top of her with, let's say, one other Auton drone.
Just a friendly wave.
Hey, how you doing,
Eases
fellas?
some of the tension from this situation.
Yeah.
As soon as you materialize, Auton 1, obviously, it takes a moment for you to get here, and Auton 1 is there waiting for you. Auton 17. Please, describe your situation. Why are you here? Auton 17 reports in, and he's basically, the star base has been secured. All of the humans aboard the star base are safe. I am here to assist, to keep the humans aboard the starship safe.
But remember, 17, we talked about how Auton 1's methods were not in the best interest of the Commodore or the other people on the spaceship or space station.
Auton 1, his head sort of snaps around to you and saying, I must hurt you so you do not hurt them.
Uh-oh.
If you threaten them, I must protect them. And his hands raise up. I must not hurt you. I must kill you to stop you from hurting them.
See, Auton 17? See how he's being aggressive and mean towards the humanoids?
Auton 1, do you not see the inherent logical flaw of your statement? You seek to protect the crewmates from danger. However, in doing so, you've become the greatest threat to their safety present here. If you truly valued their safety, you would remove your violent tendencies from this equation.
Ooh. I think that you've hit on the kernel of what will make him stand down from this.
Oh.
Well
done, Tisona.
All right, then. Do I need to roll anything for that, or?
Yes. Oh, definitely. We are going to do a reason command.
Okay, reason command. Could I apply my instructor focus
Your
to this, or is
instructor
that
focus?
panhandling?
It is very Socratic of you to sort of walk him through his errors. I'll give it to you.
I'm basically discussing philosophy with him. We talked about using values as sort of a one-time boost to our rolls as well. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Um,
Yes, this is going to be a hard roll. So Probably going to put this at like a difficulty 4.
Oh boy.
Okay. If I were to apply one of my values, what is the benefit that I would gain from that again?
You get a bonus die that is an auto crit. So you get 2
Okay,
successes
so-
off right away.
One of my values is activities do not need to be logical to be important to people. I assume this is something Kasani picked up from her human romance novels that she's read.
Probably, yes.
But basically, how she would try to explain it to Auton 1 is, in her own words, while the most logical course of action would be to put all living beings in a situation where they have no autonomy and therefore do not have the capacity to cause harm to themselves or others. This touches on the inherent illogical nature of life itself. Without some presence of danger, there is no meaning to existence.
All right. I'm buying it.
Okay, so I get an extra die so I basically get 2 guaranteed successes then.
Yes.
Ooh, is there anything else that I can do to cheese this roll? Or
We can
Have
buy a die with momentum.
I'll do that.
Yep.
All right.
I don't know if Auton 17 has the stats for it, but would he be able to supply a roll as well, or is that too risky?
So I mean, you're rolling what? Reason, command. He can try to help for sure, and he is sort of. I think from his point of view, he is here as a less compromised, but still true to the ideals of what the Autons are trying to do. So he can he can basically be the telling Auton 1 that Auton 17 is here to step in as the new head of the hierarchy if Auton 1 is willing to step down.
Okay, am I able to roll my dice first and see if I need him, or?
The way it works, well, actually, his help will add successes if you get at least 1 success. And since you're spending your determination, you're already getting 2. So I will roll his right now and see. There we go. So you get 1 from 17.
All right, and I will roll.
I'm going to burn the rest of my threat to jack up your threat range, though. Complication range is going to be 3.
So he's got two automatic successes plus those 2 that he just rolled.
So that's 5 successes total.
Okay. Against a difficulty of 4. So you have managed to still get some momentum.
Nice.
So you pulled the Captain Kirk logic bomb on this guy.
I thought that might be appropriate narratively.
And Auton 1 is the safety of my wards is paramount. The galaxy is inherently unsafe. The galaxy is inherently unsafe when Auton 1 is in the galaxy. And sort of keels over.
Wow. This is where we learned that Auton 17 was the big bad the whole time. You played right into my hand.
Arise, my puppets.
He's drawing angry eyebrows on his own face with a Sharpie.
So 17 turns to you and thank you for alleviating this stressor on the hierarchy of Autons. We shall now need to reconfigure and retool. Autons will shut down in 5, 4, 3. Eyes kind of go dark for a minute.
Is he rebooting or is he?
Yeah, and then it's like,
Okay.
whoop, reconfiguration completed.
So-
Auton 1 Alpha reporting.
Congratulations on the promotion.
You're still on our side, right?
Rest assured. The rest of the Autons are now under my direct control. The staff and crew and civilians aboard the starbase are already being resurrected. We ask for one favor. After we remedy the situation caused by Auton 1,
You want us to build you a new ship?
that would be appreciated. May we contact home?
Of course, we'll talk to Solmec.
Ah, yes, your subspace communications expert. Yes.
Yeah.
Right before we have her court-martialed, I assume.
Well, she is a civilian, so she'd just be going to regular old jail, not military jail. Drummed out of the Science Academy for heresy or whatever Vulcans do to their criminals.
I
I
think
like to think it's just a lot of community service.
Mm.
and Commander Walsh will go over and maybe attempt to awaken the captain and then put out a ship-wide hail. I don't know if that's the right word, but a ship-wide notice. There we go. Order has been restored. Do not fear the Autons. They are now here to assist.
And Auton 1 Alpha looks at you and says, but, Commander, our goal was always to assist.
Yes, but now you're here to assist in human terms.
All right. And at that, I think we can wrap up this episode. We have resolved the situation with the Autons with 25 minutes to spare. That's not,
Hey.
I had no idea how this was going to go.
Well, if that turned into a fight, that would have gone on a long time, I'm sure.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. Combat.
I might not be super versed in Star Trek, but I do at least know enough to know the genre conventions, and I knew that a shootout might have been, well, maybe not at a place in the J.J. Abrams era, but I don't think that's what we were trying to emulate.
Yes, no, the logic bomb was definitely the path of least resistance here. So that went really well.
That was fun.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, that was a blast. Very easy to understand. Yeah, if you're a fan of Star Trek, I think that this would be a good pick.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
would recommend it.
I like the way that it encourages you to work within the group and find the best person for the job, and then sort of build off of that. I like
Which maybe with two people,
yeah,
was
well,
a bit typical of the test drive, but I think we pulled it off.
Mhm.
well, you had, and you know, the easy sort of swapping in and out of the NPCs and tapping on their abilities, and the not having mechanics for help that worked. That was nice without having to worry about, you know, the dog pile effect that we get in D&D, where everyone wants to make a perception check or whatever. Like this worked well.
Yep.
So yes, fan of the system. I'm glad we got to play it, and I don't know that we've got anything in ink for next week. So
I'm sure that we could slap something together.
yeah, so it might be, maybe that'll be the Jackbox week that Gwen requested. I don't know. We will figure something out.
Next week is the 7th, so that one currently is open. We just don't have
Yeah.
Devin.
Okay.
So
But we will be doing something next Monday at 8 for sure. But thank you for tuning in if you did tune in tonight. And yes, Star Trek Adventures by Modiphius. I'm glad I got to play it finally. And I think it met expectations and then some.
Mm-hmm.
So until next time, everyone, live long and prosper. And yeah, there we go. There we go. And we'll catch you next week.
See you guys.
Hailing frequencies are closed.